What's cracking, people? It is your baby mom's favorite cousin T-Taw. And this evening, pardon me, we have an amazing conversation prepared for you. Tonight, we are going to be discussing the topic, what is a good man? Now, there's so much that can be said about this particular topic. So I want to give just a little background before I bring up yours truly, the Honorable Pimp God. And in our society, here we are, we're in the United States, but of course, there are those who are viewing this in other countries and other regions. But in popular culture, there's this concept called the good man. And tonight we're going to dive into what that represents. What is a good man? Is a good man someone who's compatible, right? Is a good man a law abiding citizen? Is a good man someone who subordinates themselves to a religious doctrine? Is a good man compliant? Is a good man obedient? Right? I think the most important question that we need to investigate in this conversation is, who wants to be a good man given the current state of affairs, given all of the knowledge, wisdom, information, and experience that those of you are receiving from these conversations about how society moves, how women move, and how successful men move. So through this conversation, and hopefully your questions, we do appreciate you submitting your questions and comments. Hopefully through this conversation, we can get a better understanding about what a good man is and whether or not you actually want to be referred to as a good man. But without further ado, let me go ahead and bring up the Honorable Pimp Jeezy to the stage.
You know it's hard out here for a pimp.
Absolutely. PG, how you feeling tonight? Go ahead and try to unmute your mic. Yeah, I think your mic is muted. There
Okay,
you go.
can you hear me?
Yeah, you got it. How you feeling?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
That's mute.
Maybe
Okay,
maybe
hold on for a second. Hold on for a second.
yeah, we're gonna have you come out and go back in, okay? So while PG comes back in, we're gonna give some shout outs to those who have arrived early in the chat. First, we have Truth Sayer 3000. We in here. Now we have Johnny Retro. Let's go. Before we get to the super chats, let's see how Pimp Jeezy is doing. Let's see. I think he's gonna come back in. He's gonna go out and come back in. So let's holler at these super chats. Shout out to Iceberg. Iceberg's 1230 says, salute Pastor ASP, Cousin T, and Warren B. Question, what is a man's dark side and how do you integrate it into your entire being to become whole as a person? That's a wonderful question, and we are going to address that very soon. Next up, we got Kenneth Young. Shout out to you. Shout out to Kenneth Young. With the Sawbucks, salute Cousin T and Pimp God, absolutely. Johnny Retro 84, good man means Klay Thompson kissing the feet of Megan Thee Stallion. That's a good example. Maybe we will bring that up. Give me 1 sec. Let me see if let's see if we got you, PG. Can you hear me? I think we're gonna have him go back out and come all the way back in. But in the meantime, shout out to the field master. Shout out to the Field Master General, Rom Wills. Always great to have you in the building. It says, salute to Master Cousin T-Taw and the Honorable Pimp God. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's try this one. How
Can
about
you
that?
hear me?
I got you loud and clear. Can you hear us?
All right, one more second.
Take your time. Take your time. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it going. Okay. All right. Salute to you. O'Shea White was good with it.
What's poppin', twin?
Here we go. Icebergs 1230. Here you say Grandmaster Goodbar. You know what? Actually, you just reminded me. Shout out to you, Iceberg. I appreciate that. You just reminded me. Ron Wills, listen up, man.
I'll be a player for life. So where's my wife?
Yes, indeed. We got one for you now. The player. All right, the player's player. Yes, Keith Young. Shout out to Ron Wills. Salute to you. And as we move forward, we're going to continue to shout out those who are coming into the building. But in this particular conversation tonight, as I said, we're going to investigate what it means to be a good man and whether or not you actually want that title associated with you. PG, how you feeling?
All right, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. My mic was acting crazy. I don't know what was up with it.
Okay, the wireless
Yeah, the
headpiece?
new wireless one that was just acting
Okay.
crazy. It wasn't
Yeah, you know what?
connected for some reason.
The wired ones tend to work better, you know.
I see. Yeah,
Analog, baby, analog all the way.
yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
Oh, but it's all to the good. PG, it's always a pleasure to have you and your wisdom that you bring to these conversations. And
Appreciate it.
like I said, tonight we're having a discussion covering what a good man is. Of course, we're using air quotes because I think that off the bat, especially someone from your perspective, someone from your pedigree, um, I want to hear what's your position on it. But would you compare what society projects as a good man to a square dude, and how would you qualify what a good man is?
Basically, a good man in this society is cannon fodder,
Speak to it.
and yeah, he is. He's a sacrificial lamb. He
Mhm.
puts everyone else first. Um, you know, my parents never told me to date based upon class level.
Mhm.
So if I meet a chick, as long as she had a fat enough ass to spark my personal interest,
What's
it
all
didn't
that
matter.
music back there?
Yeah, it didn't matter if she had kids from previous situations. It didn't matter if she had, you know, borderline personality disorder or
Mm.
any number of mental disorders. And I'm not saying all, I'm simply saying you were considered good in the
Mhm.
Black community, when
Mhm.
you step up to the plate and help her carry her cross, so to
Mm.
speak, you know, when you got your own to carry, you know what I'm saying? So um, a good man is someone who puts everyone else first. And that's the good thing to do. That's, you know, and certainly women would prefer a man that would do that because, you know, he'll help her to bear the weight of her own mistakes, you know,
Mm.
and you know, without real learning, right? How could there be growth though? You
Right.
know, and so I think what men need to do, I mean, I know we're gonna get into that, is think on the opposite side of the coin.
Mhm.
You know, if I enable women in their fuckery, how am I assisting in creating worthy women to get with in the first place?
Mhm.
Without learning, men, we learn by falling. We learn by making mistakes. We learn through struggle. Um, and how are we going to have a crop of women worth trying to build with if they always could just count on their men to come in and clean up their messes?
Mhm.
So,
And
yeah.
that's a really good way to tee this off, because that imagery that you presented of bearing the cross,
Yeah, the
right?
cross.
This ecclesiastical sort of motif that's presented when society frames what a quote unquote good man should look like. The
Yeah,
cleanup man, uh,
right.
the last man standing in terms of, like you said, the cannon fodder, the
Mhm.
firing squad,
Yeah.
the pop the balloon guy, right? What's
Yeah.
What's interesting with this theme, though, is that you mentioned a very important phrase, and
Mm.
that's sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
Now, that's going to come back up over the course of this conversation, because there are a few points that I really want to make sure that we drive home in terms of how modern society views what a good man is required to sacrifice, what a
Mhm.
good man is required to give of, and what
Right.
a good man is required to endure through.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of conversations that happen among people that I meet and engage with in the world, but mostly those conversations that happen in spaces online,
Mhm.
all reveal that most women pity good men, meaning a lot of women will say, "Yeah, he's a good man," and espouse, all the sacrifices and things that he presents,
Mhm.
but he's not that interesting. But he
Right.
he doesn't have that spark. There
Mhm.
is no chemistry. There's no
Right.
magnetism about him, and
Right.
this is why I'm interested in understanding what's your position on a good man versus a square. Now, would you qualify a good man and a square man being the same person, or would that be a different individual?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, I mean, that's what a square is someone that's susceptible to gain. I've had men who didn't like, not all, not even most,
Mhm.
but I've had men that didn't like it when I said that women are the ones that created gain.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So, and then I define game in my book as the expressed or unexpressed intention of an individual to gain an advantage over someone else.
Mhm.
So if women create a game, then they create a game to usurp masculine authority,
Mhm.
right? And to essentially avert their role and responsibility of being a man's helpmeet within his purpose.
Mhm. Now,
So yeah.
if I could interject really briefly, what you said is very key
Mm,
in terms of your position on women uh, creating game,
yeah.
because it's widely accepted that language starts with the mother.
Yep.
So like mother tongue, for example. What's your
Sure.
mother tongue, right?
There you go.
And women use 2 to 3 times the amount of words per day than the average man.
Hmm.
The average man uses between 5,000 and 7,000 words per day. The average woman uses uh, between 15,000 and 20,000 words a day.
Right.
So, conversationally, the average younger woman can run circles around the average mature man
Yeah.
conversationally. And
Yeah.
in terms of um, social IQ, the average young woman, the average high school uh, girl
Hmm.
or teenager is capable of assessing a social scene better and more accurately than a mature man, the
Hmm.
average mature man.
That's true.
So, what you say about women uh, creating the game or creating game, I believe it's accurate.
Mm.
Now, that being said, in a previous conversation, we discussed how men do not run game.
Mhm.
We practice the art of ism.
Right.
Women run game.
Hmm.
and,
Yes.
let's be clear as we progress this particular conversation.
Hmm.
Women run game.
And guess who else?
Go for it.
Juvenile males.
Yes.
They run game too.
Yes.
Because I say that the highest level of game is no game.
Yes.
The grown man's game is just honesty.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, go ahead.
So I say that to say that when a woman and the woman as a representative as society says that a man is good, oh, that's a good man. Is she giving him a compliment, or is she validating his compromise? Is she validating his decision to go with the flow, to follow the rules? You know, a lot of these conversations that happen with men who are frustrated, they say, I checked all the boxes. I did everything right. I was a good student. I graduated. I got my degree. I bought the house. I started the business. I did all this. I stayed out of trouble with the law. I didn't have any kids out of wedlock.
Mhm.
I took her out on 5 dates before I even smelt the draws.
Mhm.
Ain't seen no parts of the Virginia. Okay,
That's right.
well, why doesn't she like me? Why will she commit to me? Why does she like the bad boys? You see that?
Mhm. Yeah, when a woman says a good dude, she actually feels sorry for him.
Thank you.
When she
Thank
says,
you.
because women will say that. They'd be like, he a good dude. He's a good dude. He's a good man. He was a good husband,
Mhm.
you know, but you know that magical word but that follows a compliment, so so to speak. But um being a good man is not something that you want a woman to regard you as, you know.
Now,
Yeah.
I want people to take note at the 20-minute mark. It has been declared. He said it first. All
Mhm.
right. I'm gonna obviously back that up because he's absolutely correct. But let's take note what PG just said. If you could
Mhm.
repeat that one more time.
Yeah, being a good man, a good dude is not what you want a woman to consider you as, because there's no reverence, there's no fear, there's no true respect for the good dude. Um, I was most people might know what I'm already talking about, but
Mhm.
um, let's just say someone had asked to borrow some money from me,
Mhm.
and I lent them the money. It's not the whole story, but I'm just shortening the story. And um, and they hit me with the tears and everything, you know, the whole, and So I loaned him the money, which really wasn't a loan. It was I'm just blessing them basically with for whatever it is. And then the next month rolls around the same time. You know, a phone bill is due usually around the same time every month. And they call me again with the tears
Mm-hmm.
and this and that and blah blah blah. And I'm like, so I blessed them again.
Mm-hmm.
And then about a week later, I hit this person up and I said, you know, from here on out, don't ask me for money because I don't loan money to people. You know, I did that for you as a solid, but this is not a habit. So don't ask me again.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what she said?
What was that?
Listen. She said, well, if you were going to keep giving it to me, I was going to keep asking.
Of course.
So the dude that she actually respects is the one that has boundaries. The dude that she just described, had I been him, she wouldn't respect him because she would keep asking.
Right.
And she admitted that. So being a good dude is not the goal. You know,
Absolutely.
being a man with boundaries, that's the goal.
Yes.
And yeah.
All right. Shout out to of course, shout out to you, none unknown 666 for the dub. Says, is the Carlton man from Fresh Prince of Bel Air a good man or a square? And what is the barometer, the women slash men or society? Because a man would do business with a Carlton, and society wants a Carlton man, but the woman. Now, that's a good question. And my initial answer to that is society will do business with a businessman. Uh, how he comes across, that is a part of the culture of business. You see, there are business has its language, business has its arena in terms of what type of area you find yourself in. PG, let me just have you turn your volume down a little bit on your side. Just turn your volume down so it'll eliminate some of the echo. Um, but in terms of whether or not the guy is quote unquote considered square, uh, in the modern age, that part is fading away for his business savvy. Is he a sound businessman? Does he practice sound business principles? Right, those values, those principles, his ability to execute a business function does not have to um, reflect necessarily on whether or not he checks certain societal boxes. So that would be my initial answer to that. PG, what are your thoughts on business and how it should be?
I would speak principally um, from a principle standpoint. Dr. John Henry Clark once said, never do business with anyone. And you could also say, never get into any kind of relationship with anyone if you're not in a position to punish them
Mhm.
if they don't uphold their end of the bargain.
Right.
And you need to know how you're going to execute that. And they should be leery about crossing you or because you don't want to be a good, good guy, nice guy, or anything like that. You want to be, I'm an empath.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that could work against you too, because if I feel right, your 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 true motives behind what you do, if they're not good, right, that can also work against you too, right? Because um, you know, what what might ensue after that, you know what I'm saying? And so you want to always be in a position to punish someone if they're
Right.
not able to, if they don't uphold their end of the bargain. And they need to, a woman should revere you, a woman should fear you to a degree. Not in the sense of like abuse or anything like that, but
Right.
I always say to men, if a chick is not bothered when you are upset or unhappy, that's not your chick.
Mm.
And a lot of chicks do things on purpose to piss their man off, to fuck with them, to, keep them in arrears,
Mm-hmm.
And so, because that's what pimps do to hoes. They keep hoes in arrears, which means they keep them on their heels.
Mm-hmm.
But where did the pimps get it from?
Right.
Because what is a pimp? A pimp is a whore that's taken all of the game that hoes have been playing on men since time immemorial, and they reversed it. So where did he get it from? Where did the pimp get it from? He got it from them. He does to them what they do to the average man.
Right.
So, yeah, you don't want to be a good dude. You want to be a man. That's what you want to be. And a man, to be honest with you, is more dangerous than a gangster.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, we know the capacity of a man with values and principles that he's willing to die for and
Yeah.
stand on at all costs. Before we move forward, let's address this particular question right here that was asked earlier. Says, what is a man's dark side and how do you integrate it into your entire being to become whole as a person? So we do a lot of work when we are counseling men and helping them to resolve some conflicts, whether it is with their relationship with sex, their relationship with themselves, their relationship with women, and that darkness is their unknown wounds, the unknown sort of blind spots. Uh, the shadow is the the true self, what's beneath the surface of the ego, and most people are afraid of the dark or afraid of the shadow because they've never been introduced to their real self, the true uh, essence of your existence, because you're multidimensional. This
Right.
this body, this representative in a material realm of you is um, is a projection of the ego. Now we need the ego because it gives us the ability to negotiate and navigate the material world. However, you can get lost in the ego. You can get lost in this avatar if you don't know your true self. And that darkness and that shadow exists to remind you of truth. What are your thoughts, PG?
Yeah, I would say that the shadow is the other half of yourself, that in a sense, if you want to meet God, look in the mirror. And then if you want to meet the devil, then look in the mirror again.
Right.
That essentially, um, you know, you have to be both David Banner and the Hulk at this, and be able to control and manipulate both aspects at will. You want to be a Clark Kent as well as a Superman,
Mhm.
and your shadow side is it's the part of you that is often camouflaged and hidden in public, by the mask that you wear. Your
Mhm.
public mask that you wear to get through society often doesn't include your shadow side. And so um, you want to incorporate that by um, embracing whatever it has for you. So, in a sense, your shadow side actually has a gift for you that you need to help you get through this life. And but a lot of people shun that aspect of themselves and that aspect of reality, you know. But when you incorporate it, I'll give you an example in the movie. In the movie Doctor Strange,
Mhm.
the Sorcerer Supreme um, was truly supreme because some of her magic tricks, a lot of her magic tricks was, inculcations and recipes from the dark side, but
Right.
she was using it to the G. She was using it you know, um, for the betterment of the whole on the benevolent side of things. And I look at a man as like a coin, and a coin is heads and tails,
Mhm.
you know. So um, we had the face that we wear before the public, and then there's the shadow side. Um, when I used to get in arguments with my baby mama, it would make her sick to her stomach
Right.
because she was having a spat with her daddy. And that means a lot to a woman if you ever actually played that role in a woman's life,
Mhm.
which is not the same thing as her calling you daddy when you hit that.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that a little later.
Yeah, I'm talking about like, somebody that assumes the responsibility of what that is. And but also what comes with that is a fear of daddy too. Because just like daddy could buy her some ice cream or, read her a story, he can also scold her. He can also punish her. And I don't mean like hitting women, anything like that. I'm just
Discipline.
saying it's about presence. Your presence is a reward and a punishment,
Mhm.
right? Because sometimes the punishment is taking your light away,
Mhm.
right? But that doesn't mean anything to the average woman if you haven't established yourself as daddy first in her life, and but so it's something that you incorporate that is a part of you, oftentimes that maybe even you struggle with in your consciousness, um, on a personal level. But somewhere in that struggle with that shadow side is some sort of gift, something that you can use to enhance your power.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that. Shout out to Life Entity for the Fin. It says, "Damn, yeah." I mean, when PG revealed the truth about how being referred to as a good man is not a positive thing. It's not a compliment. It is an observation. It is a statement of compliance. The reason why that was such an important sort of admission there is because when a person, we'll say a woman in particular, refers to a man as good, there are so many adjectives that a woman can use. Remember, they use 3 times the amount of words per day than the average man. She could have said that her man is positively impactful. She could have said that her man is irresistibly authentic. She could have said that her man is effectively dominant. She could have said that her man is naturally influential. She could have even said, "Oh man, that man is effortlessly cool." I mean, when he walked into the room, he got his own theme music. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But she chose to default to the societal standard of good man, which means that he wears the mask, the costume, and the performance of a man who is a servant. He is taught how to serve, as PG broke down earlier. And what does that mean? Well, and to touch on religion really quickly, when a person surrenders themselves to their beliefs, to their faith, respectfully, and just to be clear, for whatever a person's faith walk is, I celebrate your faith.
Yeah.
Because I understand that faith comes from your space of purity. We spoke about what a person's space of purity is before in another conversation. However, in order for a person to surrender themselves to a religion, they have to first be broken. And you have to be broken down to base elements so that you can be rebuilt into an obedient servant. Now, mainstream society has their own process of breaking a person down. You have to be broken down in school so that you can be built up to be an obedient citizen, an obedient worker. That's why not all men qualify for the corporate space. You see, they don't allow rebels into the corporate space. I don't care how many Mad Men TV shows they try to, Don Draper, he's so cool, he's so edgy, he's so different with the slick back hair and the suits and all. No. In order to be a man operating in the modern corporate space, you have to be compliant, you have to be broken, and you have to serve the corporate culture.
Right.
You have to be a good man. That's why the question came out in this person. I know that they didn't realize where this was going to go. It salutes you again, none unknown. when he wrote the question, is the Carlton man from Fresh Prince of Bel Air a good man or square? And he said, society would rather do business with Carlton. So the mindset that produced that particular question is the mindset that knows that in order to fit into society, in order to look like the ideal citizen, you have to be broken. You have to be broken down from the natural position of
Mhm.
masculinity.
Yeah,
You see that?
yeah, yeah.
So
Right.
go ahead.
Masculinity is automatically a potential threat.
Yes.
Um, that's why for a man to represent himself in this way,
Mhm.
you know, is a it is a compromise.
Yes.
In a sense, in terms of masculinity, it's a white flag that you're
Yes.
in society because masculinity, true masculinity and manhood is an inconvenient thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's inconvenient.
Because when true masculinity enters a space, as we've noted before, there's an energy that's carried forward with it.
You're right.
Like I said, we as masculine men, we provide spiritual food,
Right.
and that spirit can move throughout a space and it can change the energy and the dynamic. Like when they say a charismatic speaker or a man of power enters into a space, he sucks all of the air and oxygen out of the room.
Mm.
They don't want a whole group of people like that. These
Yeah. In fact, you would only need maybe out of 1,000 people, you probably could control 60% with 40% or 30%, true masculinity. You could probably control the rest of it.
absolutely,
With just that. Yeah.
absolutely. And when PG referred to uh, uh, carrying the cross of someone else, in particular, a good man bearing the cross of a woman's decisions
Yeah.
and the challenges that she may bring into a relationship dynamic.
Yeah.
There was a few ecclesiastical references, and I
Mhm.
know I always say PG and I we don't share notes on these discussions.
Mhm.
We do the topic. I'll give a couple of tags that go along with it, but
Mm.
in my notes I have written right here for the next point. God is good.
Mhm.
When people say that, what do you think they mean?
Usually it's spouted off when things are going favorably for the person that's saying it, and you know, maybe not so much when they're in need and they kind of want God to come through, in maybe even a timely fashion or um, that type of thing. But, generally God is good when he's meeting your needs or wants in a timely fashion. That's in general. That's my thought.
Now, we got to be very thoughtful as we traverse this particular segment, because when we put the comparison out there, he's a good man, meaning that he's obedient, that he's broken, built back up as a servant. And then we put out the statement, God is good. The two overlap in that people associate goodness with benefits, with provision, with protection, with harmony, right? But what about the mystery? He works in mysterious ways. Or we don't know why that flood killed 1,000 children. It's a mystery. Well, he's unknowable, right? That man is dangerous.
Yeah.
He's a pimp. He's mysterious.
Yeah.
That man's a scripper.
Yeah.
He's going to have you all up in your feelings. I don't know. He's unknowable. You see? These are projections. These are projections that people who don't have a philosophy, people who go along with societal trends, people who do not think for themselves, who do not search and sit in the darkness so that they can expand and witness the wonders. And instead of, and we'll keep it in the ecclesiastical realm, instead of saying God is good, how about divine? How about just?
Yeah.
How about whole? Right? But where I want this to go is, when you go within and you see the real God, as Pimp God has already demonstrated, when you look in the mirror, we drop that good adjective. Y'all ready? When we look in the mirror, we drop the good adjective, and then we say, God is real. Because now we have allowed ourselves to bear witness to that reality. And so if we drop that from God so that we can attach the actual witnessed, tangible adjectives, divine, just, whole, exacting, real, we can do the same thing for a man.
Yeah.
Drop that good man and say he's a real man. Right? And not in a way that women try to run game and say, well, a real man would ... A real man would. No. A real man is not a servant. A real man is a steward. You see? And I have to bring it back around to what my definition of God is. My definition of God is the apex of cultural stewardship. So if you're stepping into your godliness, for those who are religious, listen, I love you and I celebrate your faith. So I'm going to give you a qualifier here. When you are stepping into your realness, she has to see the God in you, or she has to see God through you. You see? That is real. That is the position that you want to place yourself in as the steward of your dynamic. You see?
Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
Okay. And to piggyback off of that, I see in my brand pimp God. The PIMP is player in Mac position, but the GOD actually speaks to what we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
because the GOD represents the heads and the tails of a coin,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, the God in my brand represents generator, operator, destroyer,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so if you know that you're dealing with someone that can both generate, right, and also destroy, then you'll think twice about crossing that person because they're not just a generator, you know, they operate within a certain consciousness, but they also can destroy. And this, you can't really grow without um without death,
Yes.
without the destruction of um old trains of thought, you know, old levels of consciousness.
Yes.
Um, so when I say destroyer, I don't mean in the sense of hurting someone or anything, but look at how the God works in the life cycle of a butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very violent
Yes.
metamorphosis from caterpillar to butterfly. It's very violent,
Mm-hmm.
and the caterpillar has to cease being a caterpillar as it is, you know. Even its head is decapitated.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, so in the same way, growth requires destruction and generation. And but you couldn't be a god without operation, you know, and the operation part is important because a lot of people philosophize, as they say, about
Mm-hmm.
certain things, but they don't operate in it, you know. Um, Men want women to respect them as men, but they don't operate as a man operates, right? A man has boundaries and a man knows how to say no. A man's no game is on fleek. His no game is so on point. And he has to say no to his kids, his mama, his wife, or his wives, you know. He might need to say it to the pastor or the
Yeah.
imam or whatever the case may
Rabbi.
be. Yeah, the rabbi. He may need to say no to a close friend. You know, it's limits to this shit. You know, um, and that's the God. When you're dealing with a God is always able also to destroy something, and that could even just be the friendship or the camaraderie. You know, and and uh, and keep it moving.
Yes, indeed. And you, when you mention that death is important for growth, it reminds me of many conversations, or a conversation that I have many times with men
Hmm.
who are seeking development, who are seeking to progress on their path of masculine mastery. I always say, well, this is going to require ego death. And they're like, well, what? Some people are like, well, what does that mean? A lot of grown men have heard that before and are familiar with the concept of ego death. Basically, ego death, for those who are listening, requires that you shed your outer persona, your outer existence, the government name that you were assigned at birth, your self-image, all that you know yourself to be as a physical representation of the ultimate being that you truly are. Enter that darkness. The reason why we say ego death is necessary for growth
Mhm.
is because in the ultimate existence, this physical avatar doesn't exist.
Mhm.
Okay, this container exists to get you through this material existence that we're experiencing called life. And just to veer just slightly further, for those who are listening and for those who read and observe ancient traditions, at some point you recognize that life, in and of itself, the concept of life is a human concept. Those that exist beyond the physical realm don't consider existence as life, because life exists in a finite bandwidth. That's why they call it lifetimes.
Mhm.
That's a human construct.
Mhm.
So when we touch and enter into the space of divinity,
Mhm.
that's it. That's when we recognize the infinite expanse of truth and the true existence. Now, in those spaces, we allow ourselves to exist in the true reality.
Mhm.
And then we reintegrate that into this
Mm.
material existence.
Mhm.
And so we keep that with us in our everyday activities. We keep that with us when we engage with the type of women that we desire to acquire a relationship dynamic with, whatever that may look like. We keep that with us when we engage with other men. We keep that with us when we engage with our family members, when we rear our children.
Mhm.
And so, for the sake of this conversation, when we discard the notion of being a good man in lieu of being a real man, we then step into a higher position than square. We step into a higher position than average.
Mhm.
You see, when a woman refers to a man as a good man, she's really saying that he is a facsimile. He's a carbon copy,
Mhm.
right?
Mm.
He's a what they call an NPC.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
non-player character.
Mhm.
That's why we refer to that as an insult. Tell
Mhm.
me what you really see, because let's be honest. The ultimate or the most popular maxim or statement in this thing that we call game is keep it real.
Mhm.
You got to keep it real.
Yeah.
Now, some people like to play with that and say you got to be ghetto, you got to be, you got to keep it hood, you got to keep it grimy, you got to keep it street no matter what circumstance you find yourself in. No, that's a joke. That's obviously hyperbole, right?
Mhm.
What it means to keep it real is to keep it authentic. Show up as your authentic self.
Mhm.
You don't always have to show up one dimensionally, right? It's okay to have multifacets.
Mhm.
It's okay to be expansive, to have multiple lifestyle elements. It's all right to be able to write poetry and ride horses. All right. It's all right
Mhm.
to be able to uh, discern what type of wine is paired with surf and turf as opposed to with a Caesar salad. It's all right to be able to um, produce quality works of art.
Mhm.
It's all right to be meditating at one point and then practice martial arts in the next moment.
Yeah.
You see,
Mhm.
all of these are qualities of a real man.
Mhm.
It's all right to engage with the type of women that you desire to acquire an intimate dynamic with. It's all right to get down and to
Mhm.
appreciate her beauty,
Mhm.
to drink in her fineness,
Yeah.
to sip the nectar of that
Mhm.
divine femininity,
Yes, absolutely.
to watch her walk.
Mhm.
Can we sit here for a moment?
Yeah, true.
Is that all right? Is that y'all
You
y'all
know,
y'all in the building audience? Hit that like button, subscribe. We've got the cash app for the honorable pimp guy scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
mm,
Once again, if you have a good question, send it in the form of a super chat. But let's sit here for a second.
mhm.
When we talk about enjoying the nectar of a woman's femininity,
Mhm.
and this is something that I'll bring up in a conversation at a later time. When you watch a feminine woman
Mhm.
walking away,
Mhm.
do you know what you're observing? The way her hip sways, right?
Mhm.
That infinity movement, back
Mhm.
and forth. They call it switching, right?
Mhm.
Do you know what that's signaling? Can you see my hand right now?
Mhm.
Okay. This is what a woman's hips and buttocks are doing when she's switching, when she's moving
Oh,
it from side to side. She's
uh-huh.
signaling the come hither
Right.
movement.
Oh,
You
yeah.
see?
Mhm.
And
Oh, yes.
there's
Yeah, definitely.
there's a counterpart to that. The way a masculine man walks, okay? A real man, right?
Mhm.
When I would train wannabe, let me see, potential dancers on
Mhm.
how to enter a space, there is a certain walk, a characteristic walk to a masculine man.
Mhm.
And it's copied all over the world
Okay.
in dance companies and music videos that have choreography. Do you know what the name of that walk is?
No.
Oh, you gonna love this. The pimp walk.
You know it's hard out here.
Mm.
Listen, let me
Really?
tell you something. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
The most masculine walk that we train men who want to be seducers that actually trigger responses in women
Mhm.
is the pimp walk.
Mm.
You see?
Interesting. Yeah.
One foot in front of the other with a slight bent on the back foot, like that.
Mhm.
See?
Yeah.
With a fluid stride straight ahead. And do
Mhm.
you know what signal that is producing? So when a woman walks and her hips sway and she
Mhm.
switches, if that's doing the come here walk, you know what the pimp walk is signaling?
What is that?
A vortex, stirring the pot.
Mm.
And in the mind of a woman, she's envisioning being stirred up, having them grits stirred, having that macaroni and cheese stirred up, having that gumbo stirred.
Mm.
It is absolutely, positively powerful. And so,
Mm.
to keep it in this space,
Mhm.
PG touched on something else earlier that I wanted to make sure that we brought across more succinctly in this discussion.
Mhm.
See, when I'm engaged in adult play, I'm daddy. Okay.
Mhm.
When there is a woman that I've blessed with the opportunity to be in an intimate space with me, that dynamic is at play. And one of my favorite adventures is turning a bad girl and to a good girl. You see? Now we're
Mhm.
flipping this dynamic on its head
Mm-hmm.
because a bad girl is a renegade. She's rebellious. But in the space of play,
Mm-hmm.
she's teasing.
Yeah.
She's playing hard to get. She
Mm-hmm.
being bad.
Right.
There's a point. I'm getting to a point here.
Okay.
A good girl is one who receives pleasure in obeying
Yeah.
daddy. You see?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
When we talk about the power of words,
Mm-hmm.
when we talk about the vibration and the frequency that comes across when we say specific things, one of the most powerful affirmations that a man, a real man,
Okay.
can give a woman
Mhm.
as a affirming of her labor of love, right? Her cooperation, her alignment, her participation in this space is good girl. Good girl.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that does to a woman? Yeah, you know what it does to a woman. But
Mm-hmm.
for men who are listening and women who are listening, of course, you know you want to say yes. You know you want to just yes. Right. Absolutely. She knows she want to do that. Because that all goes back to how we feed them. You
Mm-hmm.
see?
Yeah.
When we're presenting them with that spiritual nutrition, that spiritual food, we are providing the currents that flows through nature. You see?
That's true.
And so I want to make sure that we're able to um, bring this message across because we can't say it enough. In the modern space, in the modern social landscape, for a man to be referred to as a good man, I don't want to say it's a humiliation ritual. I don't want to take it that far. However, it means that he is underwhelming. It means that he is average. It means that he is unexpressive. You see, he doesn't have a signature. It means that he's not imprinting on her.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what that means about the not being able to imprint on her.
Yeah.
When a man imprints his signature onto a woman, mentally, physically, emotionally, sexually, she now is able to be his mirror. That's what I mean by imprint. When
Yeah.
she starts mimicking his mannerisms, when she starts anticipating his needs. And so
Right.
he goes from servant to steward.
Mm-hmm.
He goes from a good man to a real man. You see?
Mm-hmm.
She goes from tolerant to obedient. And she's looking forward to engaging with him. She's anticipating the new energy that he's going to bring to her. What does he have up his sleeve? What is he planning on doing?
Mm-hmm.
What's next? That nervousness that you spoke of earlier
Mm-hmm.
when you referenced a woman having respect or reverence for a man. That healthy fear of what's
Yeah.
coming next, because people fear the unknown.
Yeah. That's
You
true.
see,
Mm-hmm.
that's
That's true.
that's because they have no control, which is another part of being a good man. A
Mm-hmm.
good man is a controllable man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Based,
I
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I remember this older woman. I told this story before, but it was this older woman, and she had a reputation in the streets. You know, she fucked around on her man a lot, and she was married, and she had um a child from her previous relationships. But you know, word on the street was, if you got the right, weed or whatever, if y'all just smoking, you probably get hit. You know what I'm saying? But she was married and her husband paid everything. He
Mhm.
was a good dude.
Mm.
And so she asked me a question. She said, Warren, and she said, if a man is paying all of the bills and taking care of everything, and his wife is cheating on him, but he don't know about it, he has no clue. She said,
Mm.
is he a simp? And I told her, yeah. And she said, how can he be a simp if he don't know? And then I said to her, because I wouldn't trust you in the first place. So I just cut through all of
Mhm.
that fairy talk and fairy dust, and I just went straight from me to her. I said, I wouldn't trust you to begin with.
Mhm.
So I would never put myself in a position for this type of chick to call me good.
Mm.
I don't trust you like that, And so, but that's just an example in real time of a woman that knows that her man is good. But good doesn't stop a woman from still divorcing you, even though she knows that you were good and you were consistent. All the stuff that women say that they want. I want a man that's consistent. I wanted this, I wanted that. But most of the time, women want those things when they've already wasted their prime on dudes that aren't that,
Mhm.
right? And then now they want to double back, you know, and bring a product that is not in its best condition. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Um, because body count matters, whether people want to deal with that or not. If you're trying to build something, um, because it deals with a woman's ability to pair bond to a man. And when I do readings on women, I look at what percentage of her heart is available to me. And I also need to know that she will allow herself to be vulnerable um, with me, because most dudes want the ass,
Mhm.
you know, but I want her heart and her mind.
Mhm.
And guess what's attached to that?
What's all that movement back there?
So, you know what I'm saying? But a woman could give you her body and not give you her heart and her mind.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
And a woman could say that I love you and still not give you her heart, even if she says that. So it's not it's you know, um, I've always said what I want to be in a woman's life is, if you think back to high school,
Mhm.
if your high school ever won championships, right? Then they had like that display, that
Mhm.
glass display in the hallway with all of the trophies,
Yeah, right up
you
front,
know.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And I look at that trophy case as a woman's mind.
Mm.
And so what I want to be in her life is the biggest trophy in that motherfucker
Mm.
from her past relationship. So the game is not always to stay with her.
Right.
The game is to stay with her,
Right.
you know. And I remember when one of my exes broke up, we broke up. I broke up with her, but she ended up getting married like soon after.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't seen her for a year. And I was hurt that she got married. I broke up with her, but I was still hurt when she got married. And a year later, after being married, she came to see me.
Mm.
When a woman is properly influenced by a man, she picks up on his verbiage. She says certain words the way that he says it. She uses, you know, she adopts his philosophy about things.
Absolutely.
She looks at things similar, if not identical, to how he sees them. The other thing that happens for a woman when she's with the right man is her mental defenses become stronger from negative downloads into
Mm-hmm.
her consciousness.
Yes.
Just his presence will make her look at what is being introduced to her, and with the use of her man's philosophy and mindset, she'd be like, oh no, that ain't,
Right.
so, but when she did come to see me, she came to visit me. This ex of mine, after having not seen her a year. And her husband, he kept calling her the whole time, but she didn't answer.
Oh.
And we was just outside talking,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But as we were talking, then I guess all that DNA that she took in when she was with me started coming out. And we was talking about something and she said, no way. And I looked at her and she looked at me and then she said, I gotta get away from you. Because that's how I say it. When I do say it, I say, no way.
Mm-hmm.
And so she said that, but just having only been around me in maybe like an hour, and having not seen me or been with me in a year.
Oh, you know what that was.
Yeah. Yeah.
That spirit started to influence her.
Yes.
It
And so
started
she
to
said,
run through her.
it started running through her. She said, I got to get away from you. And then, but to make sure that women know that I'm not a good dude, one of my go-tos is my what we could call my ice game.
Mm.
My ice game is so fleet.
Mm-hmm.
And what it means is I'm so good at putting a chick on ice.
Mm-hmm.
And warning her before I do it. So but it's those types of dudes, right? The good dude wouldn't do that. The dude would just stand by and take as much as he could take off of her.
You
But the
going
dude
there?
you said what?
I said you going there.
Yeah, but
Go.
yeah, but the dude that has boundaries that's not good, so to speak, um, he'll let her know that you crossing a certain boundary. And like I was talking to this Asian chick, and she has started using more curse words when we talk than she normally does. And so what
Mm.
women do is they start trying to
Mhm.
push the envelope and just see what little stuff they might be able to get away with, which would be a precursor for more dumb shit. So, and it wasn't a big deal. And I'm not worried about losing her. You know, I'm not saying that she don't matter. I'm not saying none of that red pill shit. I'm saying that I know, sorry, but I know that I'm the prize.
Indeed.
And so I said to her, you're using a little more curse words than you normally do. I said, you need to tamp down on that. I said, I don't like it.
Mm.
And she said, okay. Right.
Yes, indeed.
And, you know, with her fine ass, she was Asian. So some dudes would just be just happy to be there. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Me, I'm God, huh? You know what I'm saying?
You know it's hard out here for a pimp.
You know what I'm saying? So
Listen.
and when I love a woman, man, I love her dirty draws. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that to be vulgar, but I'm saying, I love the whole of what she is. I love women just because they're women, not because they have a vagina.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the dude that will create a situation where a woman could feel so comfortable that tears flow down her face when she's talking to me, because she'll find herself divulging very um, tender
Mm-hmm.
moments in her life
Mm-hmm.
where she was vulnerable and all of that stuff. But because I represent a safe space
Right.
for her to land those planes, right? Then I know it's gonna be a lot that she loses if she loses me.
Yes, indeed.
And I would never ask her to do something that's not for the best. Right.
Absolutely.
So I'm not like, trying to boss her around or anything like that. But it's so sometimes them just knowing that and it's another piece I want to add to not being good,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I'll wait. I'm
Hold
gonna
on for
wait.
just 1 second. We might be about to touch on the same topic with this. Those who are in the chat, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe this particular conversation that we're having. Donate to the Tea Talk Tabernacle, but definitely donate to the Pimp Gods Cash App that is at the bottom of the screen. Shout out to Afi Kingdom. Absolutely. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. International Afi Kingdom with the Sawbuck saying, salutes cousin T-Taw. Much love, Pimp God. Sending you brothers blessings and positive energy.
Thank
Afi
you,
Kingdom,
sir.
absolutely. Certainly welcome here anytime. And let us know when you got a conversation, man. We can jump in and make sure that the love is shown in return. Now, before you go into that thought that you're about to have, one of the things that I want to really drive home about why a man should not be proud to be referred to as a good man is because of the things that we've presented thus far in this conversation. I think one of the most impactful comparisons that we can make in terms of a real man versus a good man
Mm-hmm.
is that a good man is domesticated. A good man is a man that has been domesticated. You know what that means?
Mhm.
When a man has been domesticated, he has been subjugated. Okay?
Mhm.
He is under, he is a subject to an authority. A real man is sovereign. He is the authority. Hello?
Right. Yes.
So
Yes.
when we say that being hit with the label of good man
Mm-hmm.
is a neutralizing um, sort of statement,
Mm-hmm.
this speaks to his position. This speaks to how he's viewed not only by uh, the social standards, but also by how he shows up for women. Now, we're not suggesting that you ignore women, slap them, walk through the door before them, make them carry the groceries up the stairs, make them take the trash out, or mistreat them. What we are saying is that as a real man, as a sovereign, as the steward, you set the tone,
Set
you
the
set
tone.
the
Yeah.
pace,
Mm-hmm.
you set the boundaries, right? The difference between a subject and a sovereign, beyond the mindset, is his position within the kingdom. You see, somebody is in a position of authority. And in modern Western society, the overwhelming consensus
Mm-hmm.
by popular culture is that the woman has the authority. We discussed social leverage points.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when a man steps into his realness, when a man steps into his authority, when a man steps into his sovereignty, he steps into his natural position as the authority of his kingdom. He is the king of his kingdom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he
That's right.
takes full responsibility for those within his realm.
Mhm.
He is
Yeah.
responsible and he expects respect. You see,
Mm-hmm. That's
good
right.
men expect love. I want to be loved.
Yeah.
I want to feel warm and fuzzy. Why can't she send me flowers?
Mm.
Kind of bullshit.
Yeah. They want validation from a
Yes.
woman when he's supposed to be validating her.
Yes. Speak on
And
that.
it's in reverse. And so dudes are seeking validation from women. Um, in nature and in the universe, the feminine principle is a vessel,
Hmm.
and the male is not a vessel. And the feminine vessel is filled with one thing, and that's male light.
Yes.
You're not a vessel, so she doesn't feel your vessel. She could be supportive. She could be a muse, a
Right.
source of your creativity. Now, when you start getting into sexual energy, especially as a high achieving man, a high level man, they tend to have a higher sex drive.
Yes.
And when you can take that energy and direct it in the direction of building and manifesting things, creating things, that's a powerful thing. But the good dude is trying to fit in to her consciousness.
Stop. Come on, stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Let that breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think everybody caught that.
Yeah.
We got to say it again.
Yep. A good dude seeks to live within a woman's consciousness, and it's supposed to be the other way around.
Yes.
The woman should be basically putting her application in to live in your consciousness.
Yes.
And so it's backwards, and men are. But I always say, whoever's putting in the application is the one that's agreeing to abide by that other person's rules, regulations, and guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
So the number one rule of pimping is a hoe must choose. But you need to be something. Not calling women hoes. I'm just using that as a breakdown. But you need to be something that she wants to be utilized for. A woman is supposed to be used,
Yes.
just not misused.
Correct.
Yeah.
And again, you beat me to it, man. I tell you, you do this all the time, man. You beat.
Oh, shit.
I had in my notes. I had right here in my notes, because I was going to go into the soul food aspect of it again and how women feed a man's soul. Right. Soul food is the reflected essence of truth made real.
Okay.
Truth made real. A man's muse has the capacity to inspire a masterpiece.
Yes.
When you are fed soul food, first of all, a useful woman, right, who is in her feminine fidelity. You see, we got a natural counterpart to masculine mastery.
Mm-hmm.
Feminine fidelity is the natural counterpart to masculine mastery. You see, when a woman is in her feminine fidelity, she can't produce enough soul food for you.
Yes. Right.
That, go ahead.
Because part of what fills her vessel, in addition to that man's light, is serving.
Yes.
She gets refilled by pouring out.
Yes.
Most women today feel lost when they give, and they keep tally of
Yes.
what they give and when they give, where they gave, and all that kind of stuff. But a woman in the feminine, she is fulfilled, and then the universe just keeps blessing her with more.
Abundance.
Because that's abundance. Abundance is not hoarding. Abundance is Because see, really, it's making room for more.
Yes.
Now you could now you could get some more,
Yes.
right? But you know, so women that's in their feminine, they they're satisfied.
PG.
Yeah.
We're gonna go there. Okay,
Okay.
we got a couple of few minutes left, but we got to go there. We got to take it there. We got to take it there. We got
Yeah.
to take it there because in my culture, which I know is your culture as well, the women who have the capacity to be fulfilled through service. Let me be clear. PG referenced a vessel being filled with light. Let's
Mhm.
use that analogy.
Yeah.
Men are the projector.
Yes.
Women are the reflector. Can you imagine? When we talk about soul food being the reflected essence of truth, right? She can only reflect what you project.
Yes.
And so if you are projecting truth, she is reflecting that truth.
Yes.
And you know what happens with that reflection? It's magnified. The sun through a magnifying glass becomes a laser. It becomes a burner. It becomes intense heat that can be used to produce, to generate, operate, and destroy. That
Right.
heat that's magnified fulfills its purpose, right?
Yeah.
So in our culture, the type of woman who is capable of receiving abundance
Mhm.
because she provides and she serves in abundance. You know what we call her?
Mm.
Big Mama.
Mm.
And you know what position she holds in a community?
Mm.
She wears the crown
Mhm.
of queen in the kingdom.
Mhm.
You see,
Mhm.
I'm taking it back a little bit.
Oh yeah.
You see, Big Mama is a title, is a high title. That's the highest title that a woman can receive in our culture.
Mhm.
That's because everybody in the neighborhood can count on Big Mama
Yeah.
because she has abundant resources,
Yeah.
because she not only feeds, clothes, bathes, cares for, loves on those who are in the community. She adopts people. Have you eaten? Come on in. She's
Mhm.
consistent.
Yeah.
She's present,
Mhm.
and she's then blessed with
Yes,
these
she is. Yes, she
anonymous
is.
donations. Dag, Big
Yeah.
Mama, how you get that new car? It was a blessing. Dag, Big Mama, how you get that new dress, that new hat, them new shoes? Oh, these were blessings. You see?
Yeah. That's true.
So
That's true.
there is balance, right?
Mhm.
And when Big Mama is in the presence of a real man, she don't call him good. She says, that's a noble man. That's an upstanding man. That's a loyal man.
Mhm.
That's an impactful man.
Yeah.
That's an inclusive man. You know what she says? She says, look at God.
Yeah. Mhm.
Most
Yeah.
people think that Big Mama is referring to the blessings of the Almighty, of the Most High, right?
Mhm.
No, she's saying, look at God, because she sees God through you. You see?
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
abundance, that ability, that
Mhm.
consistency,
Mhm.
that judgment. We haven't even touched on the capacity to judge. You know why a good man is a terrible judge? Because a good man tries to see the good in everybody. And then where there is no good, he tries to project goodness onto them.
That's right. They say happy wife, happy life. I say happy man, happy clan.
Absolutely.
So a good dude is not self-centered. He's other people centered. And what you want to be is a man, an MAN, and that too is an acronym. And my breakdown is master all nature,
Indeed.
So yeah, that's really key.
And to continue to flow with this wisdom, this line of wisdom, a good man is a resource.
Yeah.
And that's a good man is a resource. But a real man is the source.
Mhm. Yeah, and he's the source for many things because a good man is worldly.
Yes.
And that I remember when I told my friend about getting into silver, and she lives in Cleveland,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't been in Cleveland in years, and she didn't know where to go because she ain't know nothing about like coin shops, and she ain't know nothing about it. So what did I do? I looked up coin shops in her area where she lived.
Mm-hmm.
And she picked one from ones that I sent her, and I'm in DC,
Mm-hmm.
And but that's resourceful,
Yes.
right? So it's not just money, you know what I'm saying? It's not just credit or whatever the case may be. It's knowledge. It's
Yes.
correction.
Yeah.
A woman and a child can't feel safe with a man that can't correct them.
Yes.
They can't feel safe with him.
Say that again.
Yeah. Yeah, women and children can't feel safe. Hell, animals. They all three, they can't feel safe with a man that doesn't, correct them when needed and necessary. So
Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just you reminded me of a story
Mm.
briefly before we wrap it. Um, you know, during the NFL offseason, we would have what's called the Stadium Series for concerts. Live
Okay.
Nation. The big acts. Jay-Z, Beyonce, U2, Guns N' Roses, Justin Bieber, all Taylor Swift, all the big acts.
Mhm.
And there was we get used to the touring companies and having to deal with their bosses and their security, the tour manager and things like that.
Mhm.
So there was this one touring company that was the security detail for a big act, an international act. And one of the managers was a Russian guy. He owned a private Russian security company back home.
Okay.
And every time, we had gotten familiar with each other. He loved the way we worked. He loved the way that we handled business and did things. So I would see him in Chicago. I would see him in Minnesota. I would see him in New York. When we traveled to the different NFL stadiums. And I promise I'll never forget this. This guy's name was Tarzan. His literal name was Tarzan. Absolutely. And every time that he would see me, he would walk up to me and give me this big bear hug. He was just like, I'm like, okay, hey, what's up, man? All right, yeah, okay, yeah. What you doing?
Yeah.
Every time until one day, I think we were in Minnesota. He sees me, walks up, giving me a big bear hug. He's like, come look at my family. He has a picture of his family and his employees back in Russia. And then he shows me this picture of this wolf.
Mm.
Okay. Because they raise wolves in Russia. Okay. Okay. And I mean,
Mhm.
this guy is, about 5'9", 5'10", 250 solid. All right. Can
Mhm.
run through a
Mhm.
wall.
Yeah.
And this wolf, the ears of this wolf is on par with this guy's eyes. It's that big. And I'm not
Mhm.
exaggerating.
Mhm.
So he has an entire kennel filled with these wolves. And I'm like, that's got to be fake, right? He's like, no, these are real, and we train them, and they're special, and whatever. And then in that moment, I recognized one, he did not hug everybody in our on our team.
Mhm.
He only hugged certain people.
Mhm.
And when I saw that wolf, it clicked as to why he would hug me. Is because back in his country, he had to put his scent on the man who he didn't want his wolf to eat.
Mm. Yeah.
He had to put his scent on the man or person, whoever, that he did not want his wolves to tear apart.
Mhm.
So that was
Yeah.
a sign of respect. Okay.
Mhm.
It was
Yep.
crazy. But when you said that even animals don't trust the type of man that doesn't have boundaries,
Right.
that reminded me of that. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
And for
It's a real
people to
thing.
acknowledge that you're the type of man who would have their back in a given circumstance. You're the type of man who is that true protector, that true guardian, that true steward.
Yeah.
Not only can they trust you with their their affairs, their livelihood, but they'll run through a wall for you,
Mhm.
right? They'll
Yeah.
open their uh, home to you. They'll go to the back of the restaurant and get their personal stash of ice cream and bring it out to put it on your cake,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. True indeed. Yeah, that's true.
When they recognize that they're in the presence of a real man,
Mhm.
as opposed to a good man, right?
Right.
Just like a woman will continue to test the boundaries of a good man until he's on his back or on his knees groveling in a submissive position. So too will the world. You ever heard of a company man? A company
Mhm.
man is the yes man in the workforce.
Yeah.
He says yes when the boss asks if he can stay late. He says yes if the boss says, "I need you to work these extra shifts." He says yes if the boss says, "I need you to work over the holidays." He says yes if the boss says, "I need you to train your replacement." He says yes, to everything. He never says no. I'm taking my time off. No, I'm using my off days. No, I'm spending time with my loved ones. No, I can't do this. No, I'm only, doing what's required of me. No, I have ambitions to move out of this position.
Mhm.
You see, the man who says yes, who's completely accommodating, will be destroyed and replaced because you're a resource. and resources are replaceable. But you know what you can't replace easily? The source, right?
Mhm.
When you are the source,
Mhm.
the light comes from you. The innovation comes from you. The wisdom comes from you. You see, the stewardship comes from you. And at the end of the day, do you know who good men look to for wisdom? Do you know who good men look to for guidance
Mm.
and for strength and for game? Low key, watching from the clouds. You see, we got a lot of good men watching, listening, taking notes, because the good men learn how to be real men from authentic men. You see, players, Max, and OGs get a bad rep
Mhm.
from mainstream society. They say that we womanize as if there's no such thing as man eaters. Not that that matters at all. We love women. We love the company of women. And guess what? They love us back.
Mhm. Yeah.
We love the music that we make with women. We love the art that we make with women. You see, all of the things that come with being a real man, being able to express yourself in an authentic way. We love it when a woman shows her appreciation for our presence. You see, we love seeing her eyes light up when she gets the point. When she understands in that moment, damn, that's a real man right there.
Mhm.
I know you've recognized that. She doesn't even verbalize it. She just starts looking at you. What you looking at? She just want to look. She just want to stare and drink you in because she knows that once she's out of your presence, she got to deal with good dudes. Uh-oh.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
as we round that corner to conclude, we just want to remind everybody to like, share, subscribe. Definitely show your love to P. Jeezy by hitting that cash up down at the bottom. I want to share a link because we were talking about religion. We touched on the challenge that submitting to the program, the institutional programming of a foreign enterprise. That's how I define religion. The institutional programming of a foreign enterprise. That link down there, that creative, this creator right here.
Mhm.
Anybody who wants to know some real deal Holyfield, if you're bad enough, go ahead and check out his stuff. If you
Wow.
bad enough,
I
once again,
appreciate that.
as I always say, I celebrate people's faith,
Mm.
but you got to recognize that when you're ready to have a serious conversation about spirituality, you come on in and set for a while.
Okay.
When you
Thank
want
you.
to talk about the death of the ego, when you want to talk about truth, you come on in and set for a while. PG,
That's
what are your
right.
final thoughts?
Yeah. My final thoughts is that remember that being a man, a real man, is more powerful and dangerous
Mhm.
than being a thug or a gangster. The type of guys that a lot of men complain that women prefer over good dudes because they, not understanding female nature, feel like women should choose good dudes because they're good.
Mm-hmm.
But a man is actually more dangerous than a thug and a gangster, because if he's truly developed in that, then he's balanced, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't just, of course, say no to everyone or everything. He also gives,
Yes.
not just to his woman and his kids, but to others. He gives.
Yes.
Um, Practically every time I step out, um, when I'm maneuvering and taking care of business, I end up feeding somebody.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, it's my energy. They ask me, if I could get them something to eat or if I have money or whatever.
Yes.
And but at the same time, uh, as giving and caring as I am, I know how to say no. And I also know that I'm the prize in the relationship.
Indeed.
So love, this is the last piece I want to leave. Love is something that should serve.
Mm-hmm.
But in the name of love, most men end up serving everyone else in the name of love. And so
Yes.
they try to express their love through selflessness and servitude. But in truth, love should serve you. And if it doesn't, then you need to get rid of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it should serve your purpose. It should serve your peace.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it should serve your motivation.
Yeah.
In terms of just, sometimes a woman could just be a muse.
Indeed.
And but you can't have a woman's respect by being a big lion with no claws and no teeth.
Mm. Indeed.
So there has to be some danger that's ever possible. The American eagle,
Mm-hmm.
symbol on the dollar, is not good. And that is a symbol of masculinity, because in one of its talons, it has olive branches.
Peace.
And in the other talent, right, it has arrows.
Power.
And the two talents, one holding the olive branches, one holding the arrows, the head of the eagle is actually pointed in the direction of the olive branches, which means that the eagle prefers peace.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer peace with my kids. I prefer peace in the world. I prefer peace amongst other men. I prefer peace with my woman.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer peace with my mother. But in the other talent, it says that it's always ready for war. The American eagle is not good, in the sense of it's not holding olive branches in both talents. And a man has to have both aspects, in his character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. We appreciate you as always.
Okay.
Yet another wonderful drop, a high level conversation that we hope that everyone who is listening now and will listen on the restream will take notes and take account of the gems that were dropped during this discussion, because we really, really want you to appreciate the value of the wisdom that is being presented. If you are referred to as a good man going forward, ask a person, why am I good? What makes me good? Right? And just listen to their response, because most people don't have the response of you're a steward. Most people will say, well, you're kind, you're considerate, you're patient, all of the things, generous. They
Yeah.
love generous man, generous men to fly them out, generous man to take them on dates, generous men to shower them with gifts, flowers, and praise and attention, to give, to serve.
Right.
But when they're in the presence of a real man, they not only tighten up, but they get ready. Women get ready in the presence of a real man. You know what they get ready for? They get ready for us to make it do what it do. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Remember, like, share, subscribe. And as always, this is your man, Cousin T, aka the Alpha Wingman, saying, stay sharp and mission focused. Later.
Yes. Peace.